Hello, and welcome to Mental Health Podcast as non professionals.
Hello, guys. I'm Lena.
Hello, I'm Mardia.
And hello, my name is Simon.
And I'm Leah, and today we are inviting you to join us in our conversation regarding mental health issues, or more specifically, mental illness and mental disorders. Have you ever had someone around you or someone that you love who suffers from mental disorders? Then I think you are in the right place because today we are going to cover everything from what is exactly a mental illness to the details to some types of mental illnesses and also how to help and deal with someone who suffers from these mental disorders. And we will also be sharing some personal experiences with you so you can relate more to us. And why did we state that we are non professionals? It is because we are not in any way a psychologist or a psychiatrist or some sort of professionals in those departments. All of the facts and knowledges that we are going to share with you today is solely based on our own research from credible and reliable resources, so you can rest assured.
For your information, throughout this whole podcast, we will be asking you your opinions and suggestions, which you can respond in the chat box below. We will also be distributing some polls for you to answer. So be prepared. It's okay. There are no right or wrong answers. The more you interact with us, the higher your chances that you can win the lucky draw that we're going to have at the end of the podcast. So stay alert.
Yes, and to start off with today's podcast, I'm going to give you some sort of introduction to what does it actually mean to be mentally ill and also how to tell if someone or yourself is mentally ill. So, by the word of the World Health Organization, a mental disorder is categorized as a clinically significant disturbance in an individual's cognition, emotional regulation, or behavior. It is usually associated with distress or impairment in important areas of functioning. And to the topic on how to tell whether someone is mentally ill is quite subjective because in psychiatry there is no clear markers on to tell how on to tell whether someone is mentally ill. And there is no some sort of blood results you can read out from. There is no imaging you can read out from. It actually falls down to very carefully documenting someone's experiences and how they reacted to those experiences, and also to ascertain whether they have particular symptoms. Are they hearing things or seeing things that are not really there or hallucinating? Or do they have beliefs that are not possible to comprehend in the context of their life? And to determine whether someone is mentally ill is largely down to skills and details, history taking, and trying to ascertain whether they have a group of symptoms and does those symptoms come together in a recognized pattern, and then we can tell what types of mental illness that they fall into.
So, there are three mental health issues that we're trying to discuss in this podcast. So, the first one is anxiety and depression, eating disorder, and personality disorder.
To start things off, Mardia, care to share with us what you know about anxiety and depression?
All right. Hello, everyone. Before I start, I would like to ask you, are you often nervous, worried, sad, or unable to sleep or concentrate on daily activities? Are you feeling
Sometimes,
hopeless? Yeah.
Sometimes.
Might be.
Are you maybe feeling hopeless, disinterested in socializing, or having difficulty in relationships?
A little bit.
Yep.
Are these symptoms?
possible. That's
Mhm,
a possible.
mhm. Yeah.
Possibility.
Are these symptoms interfering with your daily activities or affecting the quality of your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
Most of the time, yes.
If you're experiencing these symptoms, there might be a chance that you or someone you know are experiencing anxiety or depression.
Why do we often see these two terms used together, like anxiety and depression? Is it a similar thing, or does it correlate? Does it come together? Will you help us to understand more about this?
Yes, it's true. That's a very good question because we often hear these two terms used side by side. But actually, if you have experienced anxiety or depression, you will know that these two can feel very different. Because people with anxiety feel worried excessively about the unknown, whereas a person suffering with depression internalizes their feelings. They have thoughts like no one cares about me. So these two might feel very different in the moment, but they have a lot of the same symptoms. That's why you see us using anxiety and depression together.
Mhm.
So the reason for that is because they follow a similar thought pattern, and some people may only experience anxiety, some people may only experience depression, and in most cases, actually, people experience both of them at the same time.
Oh, wow. I think that's quite troublesome. So let me summarize it in the way that I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong. So anxiety is like you care or worry too much about the future that you
Mhm.
are anxious about it, and depression is when you worry too much about the past and you're depressed about it, right?
Oh
Oh,
my
Yep.
God, yeah, that
that's
is
a great
very
analogy,
good way
Alia.
to think about
Yeah,
it.
easier to understand, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
great
People
analogy.
who people who have anxiety live in the future, while people with depression live in the past. The thing that they're not doing is living in the moment, and that is what we need to help them do.
Exactly. I agree. I was wondering, is it likely for someone to have anxiety to get depression afterwards, or vice versa?
That's a very good question, actually, Hasina. So, based on my knowledge, yes, someone who has anxiety can get depression afterwards. This is according to 2014 review of studies for nearly 70% of people diagnosed with both disorder, which means both anxiety and depression, came from a situation where they have social anxiety first that caused them to develop depression afterwards. So, yeah, answering your question, yes, we can. Someone can have depression after they get anxiety.
Oh. Okay, so now that we know all of this information regarding anxiety and depression, I would like to ask the audience, who do you guys think are more likely to develop anxiety and depression? Is it male? Is it female? And we are going to distribute a poll in the chat box and you can answer from that. Okay, now back to the main purpose of this whole podcast. Now that we know the symptom, we know the definition, what can we actually do to help them from who to help those who suffers from anxiety and depression?
Well, actually, I have experience in this since my dad is actually currently suffering from severe anxiety and depression. He was
Oh,
Oh,
diagnosed back in 2019, and
oh, I'm
so
sorry
like
for you, Martia.
yeah,
I hope your father doing well.
Quite
yeah,
long
me too.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's been quite a while, and we've adapted, and we found like a few things that can help him. So
So that's
um,
nice.
the first advice, if someone were to ask me what should I do if I found out that my loved one is suffering from anxiety or depression, the first thing I would say is help channel them to a health professional, a counselor, a
Yeah.
psychologist, a
A good
therapist. Okay,
first.
so because we're not the professionals, they know what to do. So the biggest thing is to help them go to the to get professional help. But having that said, we are at the front lines, and not everyone has access to good uh, uh,
Have ed-
healthcare.
healthcare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, good.
And so we're at the front lines, and they're most likely to come to, family, friends, and express their feelings. So the three words that I want you to remember: tell me more. Yeah. When someone comes to
Oh,
you with
that's
their
interesting.
problems or they're experiencing anxiety or depression, they come to you and say, look, I think I'm having like um,
A
Hard day at
stressful
work.
day.
yeah, a bad
Yeah.
time at work. Tell me more. I think I don't know why, but I'm feeling anxious all the time. My heart is beating. Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more. And
I
So
see. It's
all
like
you have to
giving them.
do, yeah, all you have to do is just to lend your ears and listen to what they have to say.
yeah, exactly. Because when they start opening up, like they're gonna be like a flower. Their thoughts are when they blurt everything out, their thoughts will be processed and analyzed. And the two big things that you need to offer to them is your time and energy. Because,
And also
it takes a lot of,
patience.
yes, it's going to take a lot of time to listen to them, but as long as you love them, you'll be willing to spend your time and energy, right? So, Fazina, would you want to help how would you help someone suffering with anxiety and depression?
Yes, Maria. I want to know. I mean, I'm sure it's relatable for you guys. It's the term jumping to conclusions.
Right. Yeah.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
master
We've
of it.
been there. We've been there. You can help a loved one who feels very anxious by helping them recognize that they are jumping to conclusions. Because people with severe anxiety, they tend to jump to conclusions a lot. So, for example, if someone is suffering from anxiety, text you. This is also a relatable situation, personally. If they text you and the person with anxiety, if the person with anxiety texts someone like one of their friends and they are just left on red, this will cause them to
Mm,
think like, I don't think I'm important enough. Maybe they just can't
yeah,
be
I feel
bothered to
like left
reply.
out.
Oh, they overthink it, right? It's
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I feel
funny
like
that
overthink.
you
left out.
mentioned that. It's so funny that you mentioned that because actually, I do have a friend who is suffering from anxiety and depression, and I always make it a point to reply to her text as fast as I can. If I see her texting me, I will be there
Oh,
for her
wow.
because I know that she will overthink. And it's such
Oh,
a simple thing, but for other people they wouldn't even think about it. But for these people suffering from anxiety and depression, they just overthink everything, overanalyze everything. Like, does she hate me,
Yeah.
does she not want to
So,
be my friend anymore? And
am
yeah,
Yes,
I
and
doing
it's
exactly.
something wrong? Is the
yeah, it's
mistake
good to
I'm
know
doing?
that you
Yeah, I
know
forget
about
it's
this so that
okay.
Yeah, and just like
Mhm.
that,
yeah,
I want a lot of people to be aware of this situation so they can be friendly and help those around them who have anxiety.
yeah,
Mhm.
You're a
And
exactly.
good
That's
I
friend,
what.
I
Maria. You're a
yeah,
good friend.
you're such a good friend.
Great
This is
friend,
the
Maria.
benefit for
That's
someone who
it's
knows
the
about
least I
this.
can do. It's the least I can do, actually. Yeah.
Mm.
I actually read about this one research from I think it's from 2016 by Dr. Chris Fraley, that
Mhm.
one of the things that anxious people do when they're anxious, of course, is to jump to conclusions, just like Paslina said. So as someone who are close to them, one way to handle them is to actually point out that they are jumping to conclusions. But the key point is, when you're pointing out that they're jumping to conclusions, you have to be calm about it. You have to, not to show your, if you're angry about it, not to show your emotion, just be calm. Because if
Don't
you're,
invalidate their feelings, right?
yeah, don't
Yeah,
invalidate their feelings.
but
And
then
also
they're sweet
mm,
about it, right?
And,
Yes.
and if you show that you are angry about it, if you're frustrated about it, the negative will devour them more,
Yes.
devour the anxious people more.
I
Mm-hmm.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So, in addition to this, I also learned something new about these tips on how to help people with anxiety and depression. It's kind of extension of to Mardia and Fazina point. It's about reassurance seeking trap actually. So, in such
Ah,
a
okay.
condition where a person with anxiety or depression seeking validation or reassurance from other people too much to the point that it brings negative impact to them. So, okay, at first glance, giving other people or giving our family members or loved one reassurance may seems like a good thing, right? As they
Mm-hmm.
need some help, the people they are dealing with anxiety and depression, so we should reassuring them and we should give their validation they need. So, although yes, at first, but this will make them too reliant on us, make too dependent on us to counter the anxiety and depression, to making their process of recovery negative impact their process of recovery. So, what I suggest that is not only that we should only reassuring them, but also teach them how or expose to them techniques so that they can be reassure themselves that they are okay, they are fine. So, such techniques such as deep breathing technique, reframing, and so on. So, this is what I learned from background study about this tips on handling people with tips on handling people with anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
So if we teach them about deep breathing techniques and such on, this will positively positively impact their process to recovery and
Mhm.
unable to increase their confidence to deal with this anxiety and depression. So,
Mhm.
in a conclusion, what I just want to say earlier is that it is good that we support them, make to support them to give them
Give
the
them attention. Yeah.
insurance, but at the same time, we have to make a room to make them to become independent, so they can
Yeah,
counter the anxiety and depression.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
haven't
I
thought of it
completely
like that.
agree.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm,
you
It's
because
don't
quite
want
it,
them to
interesting
be
too. I
100% dependent on you
yeah,
because once you're not there, it's
mhm,
gonna be a big problem,
yeah,
right?
I totally agree
true.
with that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I always assume that you should always be there for someone who's anxious, but based on what
Yeah.
Ayman said, that's 100% true.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
You should
Me
focus
too, me
on
too.
techniques that can actually improve
Mhm.
their condition.
By the way,
True.
Mardia, speaking of your dad, can I know more about him and his condition? Like, how did you
Um,
If
help
you don't
him?
mind.
If you don't mind, yeah.
well, yeah, there are things that limitations now, things that he can't do. Like, for example, just like today, um, just today, today's my mom's birthday, and we're
Oh,
supposed
Oh,
to
happy
happy
go
birthday!
birthday,
for
Maria's mom.
Happy birthday!
we're
So
supposed
maybe
to
we can
go
get
for
a
like
happy birthday
Birthday
on
gift.
chats.
Oh yeah, happy birthday from Chad. Yeah.
we were supposed to go for like a family dinner,
Mhm.
but my dad was gonna take us all, except for me because I'm in this podcast. But
Mhm.
um, at the last minute, everyone was like downstairs. Everybody got ready already, and my dad was like, "I'm so sorry. I can't do this. Like, I'm not okay." And so, like, we all understand. Like, we don't have to ask anymore because we all know. Because like my dad's condition can go up and down just like that. Like
Mhm.
so. So yeah, we understand. And another thing I think that we help him with is eliminating things that can worry him. So we help,
Try
like
to
if there's like bad
distract.
news. Yeah, if there's bad news, for example, like my grandma is sick or something like that,
Mhm.
we try not to tell all the details to my dad because
They will
we
feel
know that
sad
he's
Yeah,
gonna be
it
afterwards.
will
yeah,
trigger
he's gonna
his
be
anxiety.
super anxious. To the point that he will shiver and cannot sleep. So we try to handle it ourselves. Like It's been 3 years, and we know that what things to tell him, what things to keep from him. Obviously, we're not gonna put him in a bubble the rest of his life, but
Mhm.
he's on his way, on his journey to recovery. So
We try our
hopefully,
best to help it.
Yeah,
yeah.
let's pray for Maria's dad.
Thank
I'm
you so
glad the
much.
whole family is very supportive, and I
Yeah,
hope
Yeah.
many
that's a
people
good
are
thing.
like that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
so surprised. The whole family, they're so considerate.
I know, right? Okay, so it's time to wrap up. From based on what you guys just said about all these ways to help anxiety and depression people, uh, let me put it into simpler words. Is it first off try to help them in terms of trying to help them to recognize when they are jumping to conclusions, when they are trying to tell you something, just give your ears to listen to what they have to say, and also eliminates anything that triggers their anxiety and depression, right?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so moving on to the next topic, which is we are going to talk about eating disorders. So to my fellow audience, do you guys know that eating disorders is also one of a form of mental illness? It has the highest mortality rate compared to any other mental illnesses. Based on a research that I read in US, uh, every hour at least one person dies as a direct result of this mental disorder. You
Oh
know?
my
Gosh,
God.
that's
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 Mm,
that's
that's
scary.
insane.
terrifying.
Yeah,
That's
That's
yeah,
quite
I know,
terrifying.
right? And I would like the audience to guess what is the age range for the most people are at risk
Age
of
range.
developing eating disorders. Yes. So you can write your guess in the chat box below. So
Feel
moving
free to
on.
say anything in your opinion or anything regarding
Yeah.
what we're talking
All of
about.
the
Don't be shy.
comments.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you to whoever said happy birthday to my mom.
oh, that's
That's funny.
nice. Okay, just keep in mind that for every comment and responses or opinions that you give in the chat box, the more chances you have that in winning the lucky draw at the end of this podcast. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Be active
just
in the
comment a lot.
comments.
Yeah, comment useful things, but don't spam. Okay,
Yeah,
moving
don't
on.
don't
Do you guys have any input regarding eating disorders?
Actually,
Please.
I do, Alia.
Mm-hmm.
So let me start off with what is eating disorder. So
Mm-hmm.
based on Healthline, eating disorder are a range of psychological conditions that cause unhealthy eating habits to develop. Mainly, the person dealing with this disorder will have issue regarding their body image, food intake, and their weight. So some of you may ask or may wondering.
Yeah, I am wondering
Yes.
about what type of
Anorexia.
eating disorder
Mm-hmm.
there are. I think something's wrong with Iman's
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
connection.
okay. That's what
Yeah.
happens when we're doing online
Yeah.
class.
This is online thing. Online things always
I
happen.
believe he's in UKM, so we can blame UKM Wi-Fi for this. Thank God
That's
I'm at
one thing to
home.
put this.
Yeah, I was like worried. Wait, what? Did something wrong? Was something wrong with my Wi-Fi?
No, no,
Come
no,
on,
yeah,
it
I'm
was
as well. So,
Iman.
What
can
about you
you?
guys? What do you think? What are you think the different types of eating disorders?
I
Well,
think
the
based on what I learned from, I think it's like a general knowledge, but I think everyone learned it in their school. There are three types of
Mm,
eating disorders. One is anorexia nervosa,
Mm-hmm.
bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorders.
yeah,
Uh,
I think
but
those are the most common ones that we often hear.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know anything about it?
Anorexia. Anorexia is, yeah, I've learned about anorexia before because I was watching a series. Anorexia is
Mm-hmm,
when people are so keen on their body having to be thin, even though they're normal. They just want to be thin. They think they're too fat. So they'll do anything it takes for them to lose more body fat or body weight, which is by
mm-hmm,
limiting their
mm,
food intake, exercising more, and just they're very cautious.
mm-hmm,
And
Yeah,
mhm, and the symptoms are pretty obvious, you can see them that they're really cautious about what they eat, and
and they
you can see,
exercise excessively.
yes,
I heard.
excessively, and you can see a drastic change in their weight, and they'll be more ill. Yeah, you can see their skin is also more pale and yellowish.
yeah, and corpsey.
Corpsey, yes. But
Mhm. What
sometimes
about
anorexia oh, sorry. Oh yeah.
yeah?
Before we go to bulimia, I was trying to say that anorexia is very scary because sometimes it's not a choice. It's all based on a mental.
Mental thing that's going on
Yeah.
in your head, how you think,
Mhm.
Mhm.
how
It's
you
about how they
see it.
think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though they see a skinny body, it's like to them, what they see is like fat. This is fat. This is fat.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that
And
Like,
what caused it.
body.
and something that we often hear with anorexia is like bulimia.
Mm.
And the thing, honestly, my sister, I think she has bulimia because although she doesn't
Oh.
want to admit it,
Uh-huh.
I did find her a couple of times vomiting
Oh.
forcefully. So bulimia is like you eat but you vomit it out, right? So yeah, my sister, she's overweight, and uh, since our bathrooms are like next to each other,
Mm-hmm.
I could hear her, and like sometimes she would take food and binge eat and eat it in her
Oh.
room, and
Mm-hmm.
but she would like be sad about her body and vomit it out. So I've informed my mom about this, and we're trying to get her some help.
That's
That,
serious, That's a very
yeah,
clear
yeah.
symptom of bulimia.
Because yeah,
But it's
because
the thing, she tries to make it a secret.
yeah.
It's okay. I had her permission to tell you guys this because
Oh.
like she's on the road to recovery. We're trying to help her. Like
Oh,
of
that's
course she
great to
doesn't want to
hear.
admit it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to admit it.
Oh, look
Yeah,
who's
Iman
back.
is back.
Hello there,
I
Iman.
having internet. I having internet disconnection.
It's
Oh,
okay. It's okay. We thought you.
I
Yeah.
was so scared for a while.
No,
oh,
it's
it's okay.
okay.
Everything is fine.
So
Actually, we already talked about anxiety. I'm sorry.
I mean,
Uh,
anorexia and bulimia.
anorexia.
anorexia
Would you be
Uh-huh.
and
interested
And
in telling us about the eating disorder?
uh,
Actually,
binge eating disorder.
binge eating
Oh,
disorder.
sorry. Yeah,
So,
binge eating.
all right. So let me start about binge eating disorder. So, binge eating disorder, also known as BED, is a condition where, similar to bulimia, where the person will feel bad after eating something, after eating a lot, or after eating a normal portion, but not to the point of extreme in sense of they will not throwing up the food like bulimia does, or maybe over exercising like anorexia does. They just feel sad or depressed about it. So one of the symptoms having with BED will be one of the symptoms person dealing with PED is that the person will try to eat a lot of food in a single time period, normally after like during lunch, during heavy courses, lunch, dinner, and so on. So another part, they are trying to hide the fact that they're eating a lot, or maybe not a lot, but the fact that they're eating something. So because they feel shame and feel bad about it, although they are fine, they're eating their normal amount, or maybe not, just kind of they unsure of themselves, that what they're unsure of themselves of what they're eating, like how much they eat. So they feel that they eat too much, they eat too little, normally not too little, normally too much. Yeah, but although it is a normal amount. So if you have a family members, sorry, let me go on
Well,
a little
you can
bit.
continue.
So if you have a family members such as sisters or loved ones that may try eating something, uh, try to hide the fact they're eating something. So maybe keep an open eye on them. Maybe ask them, "Are you okay?" Or maybe they are having dealing any some issues and some sort. Yeah, just keep an open eye on them.
Oh, look, someone from the comments said that anorexia is like a social expectation that affects people, and like our
Oh,
society's beauty standards are mostly towards thin people rather than various body types. That is actually correct, because right
yeah.
now people they have like expectation. Thin is
Yes,
nice or curvy. There's no like, you should encourage, just accept whatever your body is.
yeah,
The
because
beauty
it's such
standards.
because of such expectation in the quote unquote toxic society, people
Mm-hmm.
sometimes try to, achieve that quote unquote ideal body weight to perceive as beautiful, to perceive as handsome. Is that possible, right?
That is
So
a
Uh,
really toxic thinking.
toxic
yeah.
thinking.
And
Thank
So
you
it
so
should.
well,
much, Harris, for the comment.
yeah,
yeah,
it's really
thank
good
you.
opinion. Thank you.
While we're in the
To
topic of
wrap,
body image, the other day while I was going through YouTube, I saw this one YouTuber who was overweight and she was proud of it. Nothing's bothering her.
Oh
But then
wow,
there was,
yeah,
yeah,
body
yeah,
positivity.
yeah. I
body
was
positive.
like,
Yes.
Support that. We stand that.
I was proud because she didn't really, mind anyone who so toxic to her. But when I was scrolling through the comments, everyone was so toxic to her. They kept telling her like, you should know, you should go on a diet or you should go exercise. And in
Oh,
my heart, I was just like, either encourage or let people be.
yeah,
Oh,
if you
wait,
don't
are
have
they
anything
living in
nice to say, then don't
2022?
say anything.
Hmm.
Are they living in 2022? Like,
Come
Yeah,
on, it's
open them.
2022.
yeah.
So
Time to
that you're
hate on
right.
the haters.
Okay, so to wrap things up, based on what you guys just said about eating disorder, again, I'll put it into a simple words from what I understand. So anorexia nervosa is like you are so conscious of your body weight that you eat less because you think you are overweight, but as a matter of fact, you are actually underweight, and that is not healthy. And
More or less, yes.
bulimia
Sorry,
nervosa is quite yeah.
may I edit,
Of course.
maybe I
Sure.
improve on the parts.
Sure.
Actually,
Go ahead.
anorexia, to the point, doesn't restrict their diets. It's not their, they feel bad after they eating. They try to not eat
Mhm.
at the first place. So they will try to restrict the diet and over exercise a
Oh,
lot
not eat
actually.
at all.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yes,
for the
if possible,
clarification.
Yes.
not eat at all.
And and bulimia is quite similar to anorexia. You eat something, but then you feel bad. You feel bad about it. No, is it? But you
Yes,
eat something and you forcefully throw it out because
you
you don't
felt
want to
about it.
gain that extra fat, that extra weight.
Yeah,
By
And
the way,
for
do not try to forcefully throw up because it can
Oh,
permanently damage your throat, stomach, and
Yeah,
intestines. I've
it's
heard
gonna
that.
destroy your digestive system.
Yeah, I've heard
Mhm.
that if you do that on a regular basis, you might get throat cancer.
Mhm,
Oh
mhm.
my god, that's
Oh,
scary.
that
That
is
is
not what we want.
Yeah,
yeah,
And
that's scary.
binge eating.
binge eating disorder, yes, I think there is a more popular term for this, like the word that we use nowadays. I think we call it emotional eaters. Like
Or stress
whatever.
eaters.
Yeah, stress eaters. Whenever you're stressed, you're eating. You're eating whenever you're sad, you're mad. Whatever happens to you, you eat a lot. And
Hmm.
then you feel bad about it, but you don't really want to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's true.
So
Exactly.
now that we know about all the symptoms, I think it's very noticeable to tell whether someone is having eating disorders, right? But I think
Mm,
people I think people think that it's not a very big deal and tend to ignore them, and that's why it can be so
become a
fatal.
issue
So
for nowadays in
from this.
society.
But actually, a good thing that I want to compliment is like, that the term body shaming is like becoming more popular these days. People are like, if someone is body shaming you on the internet or something like that, everyone will call them out, right? Because they're like,
Yeah,
nobody.
and the society now.
Yeah,
Only
improvement.
keeping the good vibes.
Yeah, because like I remember I maybe like 10, 15 years ago, no one will care. Like people always like, you're so fat. Like what you need to lose weight. They just throw comments like that. But these days we're like more cautious and like we're aware that some people have problem with their body image and we cannot just simply throw out comments, hurtful comments like that. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good thing that I see, like an improvement, I guess.
Yeah, however, there is still some people like when you are in a family gathering and then your auntie just point at you like, oh, oh my god, you're fat. It's so insensitive.
Some
Yeah.
people just
Usually
say
old
out
people lah.
things without thinking
Yeah.
of the consequences, right?
Mhm.
But
Yep.
I
The
So
agree
older
with
with all
generation
Asia.
this,
mentality.
with
Mm-hmm.
all this, how do you guys have any knowledge or opinions on how to help people with eating disorders, please?
Right.
I guess
Uh,
being
mhm. Like
it's
Mardia
okay.
said just now, the way she helped her sister is by trying to let her mom know and
Mhm.
also trying to talk to her and see her sister slowly open up. And besides that, just generally don't be so negative about people. Tell them if it's your friend, compliment them, make them get distracted about their body image. Don't always hurt their self-esteem, but instead improve
Mhm.
it and do it
Yeah.
in a polite way. And if you think they're overweight and that they should lose weight, try to encourage going on a workout or to the gym together.
Mhm.
Try to encourage them instead of throwing up hateful
Yeah, just
comments to them. Yeah.
just be
Yes.
Encourage is
understanding
the
and be
key.
nice about it.
Yeah. And all in all, if it gets so worse, always seek professional help.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Always keep up professional helps.
Yeah, and then and that is all inputs that we have regarding eating disorders. So let's move on to the OCD. So do you guys have any input regarding OCDs?
Well, I don't know much about OCD, but the way I see it is like a perfectionist on steroids. So like a perfectionist like on another level. They're like
Extreme.
so obsessed.
Crazy perfectionist.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the way I
Madhya.
think of it at least.
So,
Yeah, Madhya. I
Aiman, do
also
you have
think of
any proper definition on this?
yeah. Actually, I have. Actually, I do, Alia. I do
Mm-hmm.
some background research about this OCD. Initially, I thought like Madhya too. I think OCD is just a label for perfectionist people, but actually, there is more to that. So, OCD, also known as obsessive compulsive disorder, is a condition where a person have experienced uncontrollable recurring thoughts and compulsion that makes them feel the urge to do the process over and over again until the point that it will negative impact their lifestyle. For example, like do simple and mundane tasks such as washing an apple, for example, seems like a non-burden process, non-burden things to do for us. But person dealing with OCD, this task is so burden and troublesome for them, as they need to keep washing the apple again and again and again until it's 300% clean. So if they don't do that, they feel a feeling of unsettledness, uneasiness. So their mind force them to do so. So it's quite sad that they can't able to do other stuff, like other maybe other things that are important stuff, maybe like homework assignments or studying for exam, for example,
Mm-hmm.
but they have to
Mm-hmm.
spend quite some time to do a simple task like washing an
Mm-hmm.
apple, checking the whether the door is locked or not, keep
Yeah,
rechecking
right.
on and
So
on.
that's
So it's
interesting. So, like for them to get one task done, it's like they have to go through all these processes, like these rituals that they just
Yeah.
can't help but do. So, like, what I want to know is OCD curable
yes,
based on your research?
actually, based on what I researched, on the same research that I did, yes, OCD is curable. This is cured by using psychological treatment, also medication. So,
Mm-hmm.
however, I'm
And
also curious.
mhm.
Sorry, I'm also curious how we help someone that is suffering from OCD though. Like we know that
But
we professional can treat them, but
mhm.
how as us as non-professional should help them.
Yeah, but before we jump into that, I would like to share some symptoms on OCDs.
Oh,
Is it
okay.
Go
okay?
ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you go
I want
Okay.
to
ahead.
learn more
So
about the symptoms.
Please.
yeah, good.
Mm.
That's the spirit. Okay. So
Yes, serious.
I read about these symptoms. There are two categories of symptoms. One is obsessions and one is compulsions. For
Mm,
the obsession, there are some symptoms of obsessions which includes a fear of contamination or germs, or you can call them a clean freak, or obsessions on symmetry and balance, and also obsessions on thoughts of aggression and impulsivity towards self or others. And as for the compulsions, some of the symptoms includes excessive hand washing, like just mentioned just now, and constantly arranging, co-
rearranging furniture, right?
sorry, yeah, rechecking things, and checking and rechecking things, like when you're locking the door and you're checking it repeatedly, and
Mm-hmm.
also counting rituals where you count things repeatedly until you're truly satisfied with
Satisfied.
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have something to confess. I have
Oh,
had
what
my
is it?
experience with OCD.
Oh,
Yes,
Oh,
oh,
oh.
oh, oh! I
yes.
know about
It's
you, Fazina. Mm.
it was when yes, now you know. I've had this before and now it's under control. And I would like to share with you guys my experience and also how I was able to go through my phase of OCD and how I was able to get better.
Mm-hmm.
My OCD was not too extreme to the point like what Ayman mentioned, they would keep washing the apple again and again. But for me, it's like it's a mixture of OCD plus laziness. It's I would try to yeah, I would
Laziness.
try yeah. For me, I was so scared of germs and whatever I touch, I would immediately wash my hands with soap. So I avoid touching things. So that's why I don't wash my hands if I don't touch them. Good logic. And
Good logic.
Questionable.
Hard to
I
argue
was
with that
so afraid
Yeah,
of
questions.
right.
germs. Yeah, I was so afraid of germs. They're so scary. And one common symptom of OCD is intrusive thoughts. Whenever I see something foreign, let's say a leaking battery, I have an experience with leaking batteries. The battery is so old, rusty, and leaky. It's dangerous. It's chemical.
Chemical, right?
It's,
True, it's chemical.
uh And there's this thought suddenly in my head that tells me do not touch the battery. If you touch it, you'll get seriously sick or you might die. If someone touch it, they might die. And make sure your loved one does not touch it because they will die. And
Isn't that
Kind of
you're
radioactive kind of
overthinking
thing.
things?
it's just
That's
very
an intrusive
extreme.
thought.
It was very extreme. It was very scary, and it made me so anxious. I can't control this. They just it's very intrusive. They'll just come, and normally the thing that calms me down and made me go through this phase is my family, which they're very accepting and supportive. They knew I had OCD way before I knew I had OCD, and
Really? Wow.
How they reacted to those knowledge?
they
Yeah.
were playful. They made light of the situation. They didn't think of it as too serious.
Mhm.
Did you
Because of
laugh
that,
as
That's
I
well?
was going.
relatable.
And
Yeah.
because of that, I thought it was funny too. I didn't think it was too
Mhm.
serious, and that's why I was able to get out of from this phase. But until now, there the intrusive thoughts are still here, but it's
In the back of your head,
okay.
right?
Mm. And
Kind of.
how I got through this phase is my mom. She is so caring and supporting. And it just surprises me so much because whenever I have this intrusive thoughts, she would just
Mhm.
tell me that everything's fine, everything's okay, nothing's going to be wrong. It's like, for example,
Mhm.
when I was afraid, suddenly during the night, I would be afraid, like, what happens if something happened? What will I feel like if something happens to my cat? Because my cat is an outdoor cat. What if a car ran over it, or it got lost, or
Ooh,
the collar got stuck to a thing and it just choked to death? And
wow.
it
I
scared
In the
me.
forgot.
mechanism of person dealing with OCD, it's actually a
Yeah.
good tips or good exposure to other people.
Uh-huh.
Especially not
It's
other people know about the inner workings,
mm,
right?
it's
Yeah,
out of
true, true.
nowhere. And how my mom was, I don't know why or how she knew about it, but she just calmly told me everything's going to be fine. You just got to go to bed, relax, and tomorrow when you wake up, your cat's just going to be there waiting for you. And that's how it helped me. I encourage people, if you know someone with OCD, always calm them, always reassure them. Be- the other things about OCD, like perfectionism, that's all, you can take advantage of that. You can take advantage of perfectionism. People would commend you like, wow, you're so perfect, everything's so clean. But when it comes to intrusive thoughts, you have to help them, you have to be there for them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
actually there is a benefit when it comes to people with OCD, because personally my mom also have OCD. She is so
Oh, okay.
yeah, she's obsessive towards symmetry and balance, and that is actually what makes the house so clean and symmetrical, and it's nice to
So
see.
So
That's a good sign.
if you like mess something up, will she go
Yeah.
crazy? Like,
Mhm.
she
No.
will be mad at you.
but yeah, we can laugh about it, but actually, to the person
uh,
experiencing it, it really annoys them.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
really
it
like
really annoys
causes them
them.
anxiousness, and like they can't. They have to fix it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
By the way, guys, there was this one comment that kept saying that tell you, Anis, yes, that she said
Uh-huh.
that whenever she does her homework, she keeps making mistakes, and the correction tape, she'll always use it. And when it wasn't there, it will cause a breakdown. That's actually one of the symptoms of OCD. Is everything has
Oh
to be in
no.
order. If it's not there, it feels anxious. It's like a routine. You have a routine. When you go to sleep, your teddy bear has to be there. If it's not there, you'll get a breakdown,
restless.
anxiety.
Yeah, anxious about it.
Yeah, but like I think there is a point where it's perfectionist, and then it goes to like OCD. So I
OCD.
think the thing
We,
about the difference between a perfectionist and OCD, a perfectionist like if they don't do it, it does bother them. But if people with OCD,
Mm-hmm.
like it's to an extreme, right? Because like they just have to do it repeatedly. So
It is a symptom of OCD, yes, but I wouldn't be too quick to label it as OCD
yeah,
because there's
you
a
don't want to
bunch
label
more.
yourself.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
good to
that
label.
the
I
OCD
don't
is
want to
more
label
than
myself
that.
too.
Mm-hmm.
down the
And
I
line,
when we
you
think
need
have,
to
mhm,
Any
professionals to check. Either
yes,
Yeah,
ways
always
with
that someone
any
have
professional.
a
actually with
always refer
any
to
mental
professionals.
disorder. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah, you
With
can go
any
on.
Go
mental
ahead.
Yeah.
disorder,
mm-hmm.
you don't want to look at one sign only because there
Yeah.
has to be multiple signs. Yeah,
Yeah, like I
But
say, groups of symptoms, not
a
just
group of.
one.
but if that
Yeah.
symptom of yours does get really bad and it starts to affect other things in your life, maybe you
Yeah,
should really seek help
Check.
from your
Mhm.
Seek
friends,
help.
family. Try to open
Yeah.
up.
And I
because
think
Also seek
just
for
like
professionals also, if that
yeah, true.
possible.
If it's
And ju-
too extreme.
mhm.
Yeah.
and just like how Lena's mom handles it, I think it's really important to learn more about this so that you can tell if people are having this kind of mental disorder, so you can help it. You can be comforting towards them. Yeah, I think
Or you,
yeah,
yeah.
Lena's mom is the best.
Yeah. I'm actually jealous with your
Or
mom, Lina.
I'm surprised too.
Great
Or
mom.
you can there's other ways you can help. You can cope with OCD, like like you mentioned, counting rituals or taking deep breaths and try to calm your mind or find some other distractions. That's also a way on how you can handle this breakdown.
Mm-hmm. And I also believe that OCD can start at a really really young age, and are at most risk of developing it during late adolescence. So If you guys are at that age, and you might have a chance of developing it, but
Yeah,
not to
I
worry so
did.
much.
Yeah, I developed during my late adolescence too.
Oh, okay.
How
Now we can see that
specifically,
is true.
Lina?
And to my fellow audience, I would like you to share your opinions, or whether you have any experience on OCDs. Do you have any someone that you love who have OCDs, or you think that you yourself might have OCD? You can share it in the chat box below.
Also, thank you, Anis, for the comment. Very
Thank you,
appreciated.
Nice
Alice, for the comment.
comment.
Besides OCD, I recently have seen more and more mentions about ADHD in social media. Lina, would you share your thoughts on ADHD?
Well, surprising thing actually, besides
Hmm.
OCD. Yeah.
Oh
Oh
no, no,
no.
no, not again.
Oh no.
You're not
Oh
gonna
gosh.
tell me you have
Uh,
ADHD, are you?
I don't know. I might
Hmm.
also have ADHD. I
Oh.
haven't got it
Oh.
checked yet by a professional, which is
Mhm,
something you should do. You don't want to label yourself, like Maria said. But I've been
mhm.
experiencing the symptoms a lot since a few years ago, and I feel like ADHD is the most plausible.
ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, right?
Yep,
Yeah, I
Maybe,
think so,
maybe,
yes.
just maybe, I might have it too.
Okay,
maybe,
we don't
but
want to
not good
label.
to
We don't want
label.
to
We
label.
don't want to label. We just
Unless we
maybe.
have a professional diagnosis, we're not gonna
Yeah,
label
yeah.
ourselves.
That
It's
was
But
just
common,
people,
yeah.
self-diagnosed.
It's
but I
common for
know,
normal people to have one or
Mhm,
two of the symptoms, but
yeah,
extreme ADHD is way different.
mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
I know that on social media there is like a lot of people spreading awareness
Trying to
about
label them.
ADHD, but people with ADHD are sometimes relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's quite, I
Yeah.
also
So
have a
what
hard
are the
time paying
symptoms?
attention.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about
Uh,
ADHD. I want to know more.
yeah, please. Hmm.
Mhm,
Is it
mhm,
me?
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, do you
ADHD.
guys have any input
Yeah.
regarding ADHD? So please
Actually,
share
Yeah.
with
I
the
So for
audience.
I
Lena,
will
since
share.
you
I would like to share the symptoms of ADHD, and it's based on my
Mhm,
personal experience. It's a way that I
mhm,
can let you guys know how it feels like. But do know that I've not been professionally diagnosed yet. It is not encouraged to label yourself, but based on the
mhm,
evidence, I want to. It's more relatable from my experience that I share with you how the symptoms is.
mhm,
Normally, a person who does not have ADHD, it's really hard for them to understand what it feels like having ADHD. So first and foremost, a pretty obvious characteristics of ADHD is, even in the name itself, inattentiveness or trouble paying attention.
mhm.
For me, I have really hard time paying attention because during classes or lectures, my max is just 2 or 3 minutes paying attention. Out of the 2 hour
How do you
lecture,
study, man?
I have to do it practically. When someone gives me homework, that's where I start to learn. I do homework
Mhm,
and I learn. That's how I have to cope. Because even in conversations, if my friend is talking to me and if she is saying something so long, I would just
mhm.
black out in the middle of the conversation.
Oh no, just having your own time in your own little world,
how do they react
Travel
when
to the
you
six
do that?
dimensions.
Yeah.
like a song.
Another symptom. Another symptom of OCD is, I mean, ADHD is also forgetfulness.
Mhm,
Let's give an example. And I'm sure this is pretty relatable to every one of you watching and also you guys. Let's say you're watching TV and suddenly your roommate comes into the room and he brought food. He brought takeout. So you were planning to go to the kitchen to get a spoon, but on your way to the kitchen, suddenly you just completely forgot, wait, what am I doing in the kitchen? What am I supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
totally
So
relatable.
relatable.
Totally.
Yeah. You go back to the living room and only when you see the food, that's when you remember, oh yeah, I'm supposed to get the spoon. So with
Mhm,
people so people with ADHD, that's common. And I'm sure for you guys it's funny, like, oh, look at me, it's a sudden brain fart. But for people with ADHD, it happens on a regular basis and it's not
mhm,
funny anymore. It gets so
So it becomes
frustrating to them and
irritable,
to the
right?
it's so irritating, frustrating to the point of
It
them
gets
getting a
annoying.
mental annoying, yeah. It's making them get a mental breakdown.
mhm,
Wow.
Next symptom of ADHD is impulsivity.
Mhm.
For example, you and your two friends are having a conversation, and one of your friend is talking, and midway during the conversation, suddenly you had a thought in your head, and you immediately, without considering that they're still talking, you didn't wait at all, or you weren't patient. You just be open about what you wanted to say, and that makes your friend, angry or upset that you just cut their conversation. That is a symptom of impulsivity. People with ADHD are very open. They act or say things without thinking.
They blur
Yeah.
out what they think at the moment. Just suck.
They can be very blunt.
And I actually want to share. I forgot to share like from the forgetful part. I have this experience where I tend to forget when people text me, and I read it, and I'm planning to answer it later, but I tend to forget about the whole thing, and then I kind of feel bad for my friends because of all the late replies that they got.
Yeah, that is very relatable. It happens so much, and
Yeah.
sometimes I just forget they exist.
Oh,
Oh wow.
oh, God,
Oh
not
wow.
that,
Yeah.
not that.
But
Actually, I heard someone on some people with ADHD, it's out of sight, out of mind. So if
uh-huh.
they don't see it right in front of them, like they will forget. You might have like that one friend who like never texts you, but you're like close friends.
I am the
It's
person.
just because they don't. Whenever they don't see you, they don't think of you. You know, like
Mhm.
like they're trying to find like a fork in their cupboard, but it's their house, but they still don't remember. Like that's weird,
Maybe
right? But
somewhere after a few months of not meeting, they'll suddenly pop in your head, and do expect a reply from them 1 year
Yeah.
after.
yeah,
Mhm. I
I
see.
do
I
that.
see.
I would do
I
that
feel bad
out
now.
of nowhere.
Be
All right.
understanding of people,
Mhm.
yeah, with ADHD.
Another
We'll say,
symptom of ADHD is emotional outbursts or mood swings. Personally, whenever I was having a great day, I woke up happy and everything was fine, but suddenly someone gave me a bad news or said something bad, I immediately feel very down. And
It's all
I
go down
know
the drain.
yeah, it goes down
Yeah.
the drain.
Yeah.
I would think like it's okay, it's not gonna affect your life that much, but I have no control over it. As an example, the other day, out of I want, since my OCD, I want to get perfect scores. I have to get full scores, marks on my assignment. But suddenly, I got I got like 45, and it's just 5 marks. It's not gonna affect much on my final grade. But it made me so sad. I began crying. Broke.
Oh
No.
wow.
Yes,
Oh
I guess
wow.
it's
It's okay. It's
combination of
okay,
my
girl.
OCD with my ADHD.
No.
All
Oh.
right. Other
Uh,
symptoms also, you can say that people with ADHD tend to get distracted easily, or they have trouble completing tasks on time, difficulty staying organized or motivated, or also absent-mindedism, like what Mardia said just now. Like it's just not there. Yep.
I think.
Live your own dimensions.
I also would like to share about this one thing that I read about ADHD. There's this thing called hyperfixation. I think to better explain it in a form of situation, for example, you would like to clean your room for the day, so you have to clean everything from top to bottom, right? But then there's this one drawer that is full of stuff that you have to sort out to manage things in that drawer. But then you end up taking the whole day just on that drawer and end up forgetting and not cleaning the other parts of your room.
Mhm.
Is that part of hyperfixation too?
Yep,
yeah,
that is it is. You can also say it's hyper focus. You're focused on one thing. You have to finish that one
yeah,
thing until it's
yeah.
perfect. Then you can focus on other things. Hyper
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
focusedness. By the way,
Yeah.
there's a comment that says that Haris, yes, you have a lot of ADHD symptoms and you are thinking of going to professional. I agree with that. I wanted to go to a
Please do so
professional.
actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
do
if it's
so.
bothering you so much with your daily life, you should go to a professional. I tried going to a professional, but I can't see any ADHD specialists around my area. Why?
Yeah. And you should know that if you think you have ADHD, going to a normal psychiatrist or a psychologist is not going to work because they're just going to brush it off. You have to go see a specialist on ADHD.
Oh,
True.
interesting thing, Karazi. If sorry if I did not pronounce that properly. So she said that she's not sure if she has ADHD, but sometimes that she has trouble focusing for long periods of time. Also, a symptom of ADHD. Even like watching movies with friends or family, she has to sort of get up and walk around for some reason. That's pretty
Oh.
interesting.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good way to overcome it, I guess.
Um,
Maybe,
mm,
Maybe.
that is one,
maybe.
one of the
I think
symptom,
what she's
maybe.
saying is like she can't concentrate. That's why she has to do that. Is it?
Yes, that's why I think so. I
To
think
refresh.
like, she had a
Mm.
sudden urge of just getting up and walking.
Oh,
I guess more on the distraction, unable
I
to
guess.
focus to do
It
something, I
it's
guess.
it's
mm-hmm.
one part of ADHD. It's one symptom, but only if you
Mm,
have a lot of symptoms of it, that's when you have to
Yeah.
start considering getting ADHD. But if it's
yeah.
just one or two symptoms, but it's still hurting your daily task, then you should try to talk
Mhm.
to someone. Maybe they can
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. Yeah, the
True.
And
thing with ADHD is that like people who don't know that you have ADHD might be annoyed with your behavior because it's like it's
True.
quite peculiar to like zone out in the middle of a conversation or walk
yeah.
out in the middle of a movie. So like they can be frustrated at you like are you not why are you not paying attention to me, especially like if it's a partner, right?
Mm-hmm,
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
They will
And
feel unwanted and unloved.
Yeah.
yeah. And do you guys want to know a fun fact about ADHD?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
go
And
ahead.
the fun fact is ADHD tends to run in families. It's not
Oh,
that
so it's
yeah, if you
genetically linked.
Hmm.
so it's like a genetic that you got from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
I read about this one research that shows the parents or the siblings who has ADHD are more likely to have ADHD as well. The parents or the
It's,
siblings of people with ADHD. And if you have a parents with ADHD, you have a more than 50% chance to have
oh,
it too. Mm-hmm.
wow, that's a
Right.
lot.
Yeah.
Mhm. Harris mentioned in the comments, he said that most people can relate that the feeling of doing something productive for like a couple of minutes and procrastinating for hours. That is
Oh,
actually a good thing. I want to mention about that. So,
Mm-hmm.
difference between normal procrastination and ADHD. Procrastination is like, I'll guess it's too late. I'm gonna do it after in 1 hour, or maybe I'll do it next week or tomorrow. But for people with ADHD, or personally for me, I just feel like I don't want to do it. Like if can I don't want to do that thing, that task. I just can't be bothered to do it, and it feels like anxiety kicking in.
If only I can blame my procrastination on ADHD, then it's fine.
yeah.
I
And
want
that's
to do
one
the
way to do
opposite.
things.
I want to do the opposite. I want to blame it on my laziness because
Yeah.
it's just so hard. I'm
Yeah.
so sad. I've never told anyone about my ADHD. You guys are the
Mhm.
first one to hear about me opening
And the
up.
viewers as well.
Oh my
The
god.
Yeah,
viewers
Yeah.
as
I've
well.
Fair enough.
never
It's not easy to open up like that, right?
I've
Yeah, you guys are
never
lucky.
told. Mhm. I've
Okay,
never told my
so
parents, my friends, or anyone, and I guess this is a good thing. I feel free a bit. I feel like a big weight is off my shoulders, being able to finally tell people about what I've been feeling,
yeah,
and you
and they
guys should
can
Wow.
too.
benefit from it, I hope.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Always
Yeah.
open
And
up.
Oh,
and
so
going back to
yeah.
what Maria just left off about how living with ADHD can affect the people around us. Yeah, I think there is a for someone who are close or uh, yeah, for someone who have somebody who they love or are close to someone with ADHD, for example, a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or family members, or even close friends. I think these are one of the things that might affect them in a way. One thing is feeling unloved or unappreciated because people with ADHD tend to live in their own small world and tend to not pay attention to the thing around them. So that person might feel like might be ignored some most of the times. And also, if they are ignored and by these people, they might have anger issues and might be emotionally blocked. For example, you are annoyed because you are being ignored, and then you're angry about it, but then you cannot really say anything about it, and then you just bottle those feelings out.
Mm-hmm.
Which will cause them to be frustrated, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is why I want to talk about how we should deal with people with ADHD. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very, you have to have special treatment. First and foremost, always learn about ADHD. And you have to understand and be more aware about what the symptoms of ADHD are for you to help someone. And adjust your behaviors accordingly. Don't act out of like how you act normally to another person. If you're very aggressive to another person, if they're not paying attention, but to people with ADHD, try to be calm and understanding. And always understand that they have a condition. Do not relate them their
I
condition and
think,
themselves.
yeah, I think what you're trying to say is like separate their symptoms to who they are. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
them
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
person, and those actually the things that they do that frustrate you are often just the effects of ADHD, which is
ADHD.
Yeah, it's
something
not
that they
them.
can
It's not a
control, right?
choice. Mm-hmm.
They just
Yeah.
built
So
different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Built different, yes.
Yes, they're also built different. So we need to
Mm-hmm.
understand them.
yeah.
Also,
So
prioritize communication. As someone who might have ADHD, I just want people around me to be open if I've ever caused them any harm. If I did not give them enough attention, I want them to just straight tell me to my face that I'm being insensitive or I'm not doing what they want or I'm making them feel unloved. Because
Mm-hmm.
communication is always important. I do not know what I'm doing to other people because I can't be inattentive. I can't, it's hard for me to understand what you feel like. It's different for me. Always fess up your feelings, no matter how ugly. Get them out in the open and we can work them together.
Yeah,
I think the
communication
most
is key.
important, yeah, I think the most important thing that we can get out of like all these, any treatment, any mental health issue is like we need to encourage them to seek professional help. I think
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not everyone is
yeah,
comfortable with the idea of therapy, but maybe you can ask them why
great.
are they reserved, or hesitant to explain, to get therapy, and you this might encourage them to reach out, but keep in mind it's ultimately their choice.
Yeah, true. And
Also,
also
may I,
learn.
sorry,
Mm,
Alia, may
yeah,
I
yeah, sure.
add a little more? And
Mm-hmm.
also, patient also the key in dealing with people with having mental health issues,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
true,
So,
true.
Yeah, patience,
so
of
they
Be
can,
calm
course.
and be polite.
yes,
Hmm.
they can be handful at sometimes. Actually, for I have a cousin that dealing with ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
so they can be quite harmful at times. But like I said earlier, patient is the key. We need to
Mm-hmm.
understand them. We need to be patient and try to see their point of view. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Exactly. Hmm.
yeah, and I think the key to everything is just to learn more about those mental disorders, those mental the way they think, and adjust your behaviors accordingly, and just understand them better, and don't be judgmental about it.
Hmm.
Okay. I think we have shared enough for today. We have shared about anxiety, depression, OCD, ADHD, and eating disorders. So I think it's time for us to end our podcast. But before that, we are going to take a 5-minute break, and just to analyze your response in the chat box, your suggestions and your opinions. And then after 5 minutes, we will come back and we will have that lucky draw that
lucky
you guys
draw.
have been waiting
Don't go
for.
away
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
We
go
go
have
anywhere.
away.
more.
Yeah.
You might be the winner.
You
So
might
Yeah,
be
yeah,
the
please stay to
winner.
the
So
end.
stay tuned. And we'll be back in 5 minutes. Just the two of them. Mia is gonna stay here and entertain you guys.
Yep.
Go.
bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Have fun.
All right, everyone. While we wait for
Mhm.
the others to prepare for our lucky draw, we will
Mhm.
be entertaining you. Yes, yay,
Yeah.
lucky draw.
In what way? I don't know. So,
Let's see, we'll
uh,
find out.
I
Anis
think in the
mentioned, oh
uh-huh.
sorry, Anis mentioned that I didn't have the chance to mention before. She said that when that happens, she starts feeling anxious and she'll start hitting herself to force herself to do it through pain,
Oh
but usually it doesn't work.
no.
I'm a bit worried because sometimes doing yourself might lead you to maybe uh,
Yeah.
form of liking towards physical harm. So
Yeah,
possibly,
yeah. I don't
maybe
like
try
that topic.
maybe try to explore other ways, other more
Yeah.
safer and friendly
Seek for
ways.
help. Try to go to whoever that you're comfortable with and talk to them.
Or you can talk to
Yeah.
some inanimate objects. I do that too.
Mhm.
It calms me
Yeah,
down.
to teddy bears. Yeah, you can
Hmm.
talk to your teddy bears. It's
So
actually quite fun.
let's see our poll results of our poll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the
Yeah.
poll, it's almost a 50-50.
Oh
50%, I mean,
wow.
57% said that male are more likely to develop anxiety or
Oh.
depression,
Okay.
and that is factually correct. Would you like to
And
give us your view, Alia?
yeah, I actually read from a research that it is actually female who suffers more anxiety and depression. But
Really?
if it, yeah, yeah, it's actually female. But if you don't mind, I'm gonna give you my personal experience on this.
All
Maybe
right, go ahead.
I think in my personal experience, I think it's right in the poll. I think it's male because if you
Mhm.
ever been in a relationship or anything, a friendship, I think the female are stressing the male out even more.
Exactly,
So
girl. I
yeah, because
agree with
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Societal pressure on male.
yeah,
Society
because
pressure on male is much more compared to female because I think male are more prone to getting anxiety and depression because of
mhm,
all the
mhm.
expectations we have towards male.
Yeah, the
You know,
responsibilities.
males
Mhm,
are
mhm,
supposed to be financially stable, good looking, physically fit, while females, on
mhm.
the other hand, it's enough if they can provide love.
Yeah. Well, it's a choice. It's always a choice. we don't
uh,
like we don't want to get too controversial here.
yep.
Yeah, and
Oh,
if any of you guys in the comments have been in any relationship, you know how indecisive you woman can be, and I think
uh,
that is stressing the man out.
very stressful. I
Mhm, mhm.
maybe can be one of those people that
Oh, me too. Same here, girl.
since we have plenty of time, I want to tell you
Mhm,
guys about my experience. Before I have
mhm.
ADHD, back then I did not have ADHD. I was in a relationship with I had a friend
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I had a
yeah.
friend who had ADHD
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I was so sad. He wouldn't give me attention. He would make me feel unloved. So I'd always nagger him. I would always tell him, "Why don't you love me? Why don't you give me any attention?" And it would just make him more stressful and anxious.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
maybe he'd lose me, and
Yeah, maybe by then you have no knowledge, not enough knowledge about these things.
Mhm. All right.
Mhm.
Fun fact: I have this theory. The more you're aware of something, the more you're likely to get it.
No. So
The more I was
yeah,
aware of ADHD.
I can actually feel it. Like the more I know about ADHD, the more I feel like I have it. Yeah, I don't want to have
Yeah,
it. But
it's so
if I can blame my
weird.
laziness on it, then I would really love to.
Looks like our friends are ready for the lucky
Yeah.
draw. Let's
Okay, let's go, everyone.
get it started.
Hi.
Hey, welcome
Hello again, everyone.
back.
Welcome
So
back.
are you ready?
Are you
Everyone, you
ready?
ready? Let's see who's
Ooh,
the winner.
let's see.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Let's get started.
Yes, yes,
Yes, yes.
yes,
Drum roll,
yes.
please.
Drum roll, please. Okay.
Oh, who's it gonna
Mm-hmm,
be?
mm-hmm.
Oh,
Whoa.
oh, oh,
Oh,
Whoa,
oh,
whoa,
oh,
whoa.
oh. Whoa!
oh,
Congratulations!
oh. Congratulations.
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 Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
And we will be contacting you regarding this prize. And you can leave your information, contact information in the chat box, and we will be get in touch with you very soon. So
Mhm,
it can be
of
your
course.
number if you're comfortable with, or email, more formal, the
Mhm.
better. Mhm.
We'll
So
be
do you
here
guys
for
had?
you.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, I'm
mm-hmm. Do you
so
guys?
happy that we had this conversation today. I feel like it was productive. Although, like, we're not professionals, right? We're just
Mm-hmm.
basing off the facts that we research on. But I feel like everyone shared, everyone was being very vulnerable in sharing their personal
Yeah.
experiences. And
This is a
yeah,
safe place.
yeah, I think so. I think
I'm grateful I was able to open up tonight. I feel like
Mhm.
a huge weight
yeah,
off my
thank you so
chest.
much.
Yeah.
I
I
I
think.
no
Mm.
one I don't think anyone knows that I have both ACD and might, emphasis on might,
okay.
have OCD and ADHD.
Now the world knows.
Now the world knows.
One
We're going live.
I think the objective of our podcast today is just to discuss,
To
let people
share.
know, yeah,
Yeah.
so that we if we do have a loved one experiencing this, we don't want them to, be under our noses and not realize, because that is so sad. Because like if we see the early symptoms and we can prevent it from being a disorder, then prevention is better than cure. You know what they say, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
let's
If
prevent it
someone
before
is
it's too
being
late.
Yeah. So if someone is constantly anxious but they don't have a anxiety disorder, we might want to, tell them to be calm and help them in that way so that, it doesn't get to that point.
Yeah. And I really hope that you guys who's watching this, gain enough knowledge and raise awareness and maybe share
Have
it
this
with others
solution.
too.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so spreading the awareness of this to other
Yeah,
people.
yeah, and that's the main purpose of the podcast actually.
Mhm.
don't be
And
afraid to just discuss it. Although we're not professionals, but
and hopefully
Yeah,
if
and
you come across people with any of these kind of disorders, you'll be prepared to face them
yeah,
and to
you're
help
quick
them
to
along the way.
notice.
We could do
Mhm.
something to
Exactly.
help them
okay.
to make the world a better place, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
So everyone, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you, everyone, for your
Thank you
Thank
so
time.
much for
you.
everyone who commented and
Yeah, thank
watched.
you.
Yes.
Thank
I love
you.
you. Okay.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Bye. Thank you so
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much
much.
for your time.
Bye.
Thank you. Cue the music.
Dun,
I'm ready
dun,
to dance.
dun, dun, dun.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye, everyone.
everyone.
Thank you for joining. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
everyone.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
So,
Thank you.
um,
And thank you
Oh, they're
all for
saying
sharing.
congratulations. Oh, thank you for saying it, Eileen. Very insightful. Thank you so much, Eileen.
Sure.
Wait,
Thank you
there's
so
Eileen
much,
Oh,
who's
everyone,
thanks for
for your
supporting.
sharing.
comments.
I hope it was helpful in some way.
Mhm.
Thank you, Fadli.
Thank you so much.
thank you so much, everyone.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Looks like we
watching.
all have accents, not only me.
Ah, this is quite embarrassing, but
You just to entertain anyone who doesn't who haven't exited the live yet.
Like,
Yeah, if you want to
thank you for
chill, you
staying
can
with
chill with
us.
Yeah,
us.
thank you for staying with us. But you can go now. It's already late.
whose friend
Yeah.
is Haris? Haris is so.
Oh,
This
It's
is
so
my
sorry to
friend.
active in the
expose
comments.
every single one.
Yeah, I
Whose
I
friend is
actually don't
Anis?
know.
Anis
Huh?
says she loves all our accents.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have a nice
it's,
day, Fadli.
Have
that's
a
a
nice
nice thing to
night.
say, my little
Mhm.
sister.
Oh.
Okay,
Aw.
we should
Oh
end this
yeah,
now.
look at the last name. I realized that. I just realized that. She
What?
is hello, Alia's sister. Nice to meet you. I'm her classmate.
Yeah, she has a really good accent. I love her accent. Everyone's accent.
Yeah, we all have accents.
Malay accent.
I have Uncle Roger accent.
Hey, Aya, do the impression, Uncle Roger impression for our guests, for our
Yeah.
viewers. That's here.
Yeah, do it.
That's special.
How do you not know the integration of this number? Even
Oh,
you
wow.
guys know. You are
Oh.
such a failure.
Spot on, spot on.
Miss Roger.
Go on.
Yeah,
Miss Roger.
Miss Roger.
that's kind of cute. Kind of cute though.
Oh, I think this is a success, everyone.
This is a relief.
Yeah,
It went
I've been
better
anxious
than
about this all
expected.
week.
that is worth my worth me skipping my sleeps.
Bye.
Oh.
Wow. The dedication, the commitment
Yeah.
of doing this thing.
Mm-hmm. Now all we have to do is the report, right?
Yeah, the report.
Do in like 3
Do we
days.
have to submit that before 24?
Yep.
Oh, there even the report. I thought it's just the video link.
Same.
Okay. I think we're gonna end this now. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Everyone, thank
Thank
you
you for
your
coming and
commitment
thank you for
support.
listening.
Bye. Love
You guys
so
are the
much.
best.
Yeah.